the FBI crime lab, and they confirm what CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart has been reporting to you for months, namely serious errors in handling and evaluating evidence for trial. The government is scrambling now to shore up pending cases, including the Oklahoma City bombing trial. Jim Stewart is on the story again tonight.
For the first time in 2 years, the FBI opened the doors of its beleaguered crime lab to network television cameras today, allowing a peek inside at what the Justice Department now confirms is a deeply troubled workplace.
Our investigation found deficient work in some high-profile cases and also identified policies and practices in need of substantial change.
From the Oklahoma City bombing case to the attack on the World Trade Center, the Justice Department's final report documented example after example of what it called scientifically flawed and inaccurate testimony. The 500-page report also noted improper lab reports, insufficient test documentation, and significant management failures. Even more disturbing, the Bureau acknowledged the findings have prompted a review of hundreds of other cases for possible faulty lab work. The FBI accepted the criticism gracefully today and promised reform.
We are not happy to be at this point, but we do accept the recommendations and are working hard to solve the problems of the FBI lab.
It was a day of mixed messages for Agent Frederic Whitehurst, the man who blew the whistle on the lab's problems. Some of his allegations had merit, the report found, but most did not, and it left open the possibility he could still be fired.
They're not going to crucify me. I'm an American citizen. I'm an FBI agent, and they can't touch me because they're going to sit off and throw stones at me. Well, okay, so what?
Whatever happens to Whitehurst, it won't happen in the lab. The Justice Department recommended that he be transferred and that 5 other agents in the lab be disciplined. As for the lab itself, even bigger changes are in store. For the first time in FBI history, it's about to get a boss who is not an agent. As soon as they can find one, the Bureau said, they intend to put a civilian scientist in charge. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
This official criticism of the FBI crime lab comes at an especially sensitive time in the Oklahoma City bombing trial, right in the middle of jury selection. Scott Pelley has that part of the story.
The Inspector General's report says the FBI lab can't prove what kind of bomb was used to destroy the Murrah Federal Building. It calls the lab's analysis insupportable. Even worse, it says FBI scientists tilted results to incriminate the defendants. Today, Tim McVeigh's lawyer says the government's report will help the defense.
What the Inspector General's report demonstrates is the necessity to leave the final decision in the hands of the jury and not to draw any premature opinions as to the guilt or innocence of our client.
The Inspector General says the FBI should have confined its bomb analysis to evidence at the crime scene. Instead, the report says FBI scientists based conclusions on evidence connected to the suspects. The FBI's analysis stated flatly that the bomb was made of ANFO, ammonium nitrate, and fuel oil, weighing 4,000 pounds, contained in plastic barrels, and detonated with a fuse. The Inspector General says those conclusions were based in part on a raid on the home of defendant Terry Nichols. The raid produced receipts for 4,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate, plastic barrels, and fuses. An FBI scientist admitted without the evidence of these purchases, he would have been unable to conclude that ANFO was used. The report says the scientists tried to tailor the science to fit evidence associated with the defendants.
To have it come out that the lab was involved in looking at other evidence and making value judgments is not a good thing, and something that any prosecutor would be very upset about.
The FBI says there was no intent to mislead, but prosecutors in the Oklahoma case have already dropped key FBI scientists as witnesses. They plan to replace them with outside experts. At trial, the report could be an important opening for the defense. The Inspector General says if the FBI had stuck with the evidence at the crime scene, it would not have been able to conclude how the bomb was built or how it was detonated. Scott Pelley, CBS News, Dallas.
We begin tonight with what has happened to absolutely crucial evidence in criminal